Hello, I'm Nancy Mattox on WYTV 7 in Charlotte, recording for Shine Your Light Radio Ministry. I'm so excited to be here tonight. We have a beautiful guest that's going to really talk to us about some very motivating things. He's a motivator of people. He wants everyone to do their very best. So I'm real excited about that. But before we get started, just let me remind you that WYTV 7 is a nonprofit. We do take donations, and we use our donations to promote our shows for all the broadcasters. And we do have several million people that view our shows, but it does take some promotion and advertising, and that's what we use the donations for. We also have our own television show on our website now, where you can go back and look at all of the shows for Shine Your Light, as well as all the other broadcasters. So we're really excited about that. So without further ado, let me introduce my guest today. His name is Terrell Tarver. He's the CEO and founder of Tarver Consulting. His mission in life is to empower a global community of leaders whose dreams positively influence the lives of millions around the world. After the 9/11 attack, Terrell was called to fight our nation's wars. And he having the spirit to serve. Terrell conducted a tour in Iraq, during Operation Iraq Freedom as a team chief of one of the most elite units in the 3rd Infantry Division, leading them to victory. He also brings out the best in everyone that he consults with, helping inspire someone to reach their goals and tap into their unlimited potential. He holds a BA from Trident University. He's now living in Augusta, Georgia, and I thank you so much, Terrell, for your service to our country. I thank you for that, and I thank you for being on our show tonight. So without further ado,
you're welcome.
Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I always tell people I'm a country boy from Alabama. And what I mean by that, I came from a small town called Midway, Alabama, and had an opportunity to join the military. From the military, I decided to get out after 9 years because my daughter was born, and I said I wanted to be home with her, watch her grow up, kick the soccer ball with her. And from there, I tell you, God had really blessed me since. I still have some great tight bonds with my military friends, yet I was able to go out into the civilian world and prosper even more. I'm the founder and CEO of Tarver Consulting, a company that I'm very proud of. And I tell you, it's amazing how God can bless you if you're willing to do the work.
You know, that's the thing. God will bless us to no end, but we have to be open and ready for it, and we have to be able to take it and share it with others and bless others, so our blessings continue to grow. So tell us about the birth of Tarver Consulting, and how does it help the community there?
So the birth of Tarver Consulting actually, it happened when I was talking to my father. I called him one evening. I said, "Hey, Pops, I just want to let you know I have officially accepted my call to preach the gospel." And when we was talking, we had a journey back, and we was talking, and he said, you actually got started when you was younger, when you were about 7 or 8 years old, because I was the spokesman for the family. Anyone had a hard question or difficult question, or a question they just didn't want to ask, I was the guy to ask it. I always had the ability to speak up, ask the difficult, or what people call hard questions. And I knew I had something special in me. So when I told my dad I accepted my calling to preach the gospel, he told me, he said, "Well, Terrell, there's some people that would never step foot in a church. How are you going to reach them?" And from that, I sat down. I said, "Okay, Terrell, how are you going to reach them?" And I said, "You're going to reach them where they are." And with that, Tarver Consulting was created, and that's to train, teach, coach, mentor, speak to more than just the church, because the world needs not just motivation, but they need a true way and guidance in the world. And God have blessed me with gifts and talents, not to just speak, but to communicate with anyone from the top CEO down to the janitor and make them and let them know that they are special, not just make them feel, but let them know they are.
Absolutely. So you go into the community instead of having your own church, you actually pastor to the community, which is fantastic. It's kind of what I do too in my prime. Of course, I don't do it anymore, but I help people realize their financial dreams in a credit union. And I was always in the community. That I believed in the credit union that I was in Jacksonville, Florida. That's how we grew our membership base, was going in the community. And people always needed help with finances and needed help, special help. So I really admire that in you. I think that's great, because that is where the people are that need help. The ones that are coming to church, they know what they're coming for. They know what they're doing. And although they need guidance, the ones that are lost are the ones on the street, the ones in the community. So I'm really excited about you. I think that's great. So what's your biggest accomplishment now at this point in your life?
I would say my biggest accomplishment is actually finding a good thing. What I mean by that is marrying my wife. The reason I say that is because everything stems and umbrellas under her. The success of my business, the success of my home, the success of anything I try and do, it stemmed from that beautiful woman. And I tell people, I said, that's the best decision I have ever made in my life. Apart from, marrying the most beautiful girl in the world, actually leading soldiers in combat and bringing them home. The biggest accomplishment wasn't going out there and doing what we do. It was bringing them back how they left. And I tell you, my heart was just so full that I was able to keep my word to a set of guys or team and say, hey guys, we're going out there, we're going to do a job, and we're going to come back the same way we came. We left. And that right there, I think about it, it's daily. I thank God for that, hey, you blessed us so I can come back. And I think that speaks volume of everyone around me, though, that leadership of training that I've been getting since, like I said, the age of 7 or 8, and it just stemmed into the rest of the world.
Well, you realized your purpose real early in life, didn't you? God led you down that path, and you're a true leader and just really an outstanding person. I love the way that you talk about your family and your wife. That's just so important in this day and time. I've been married for, I guess 48 years now. And when people look at us, they're like, how does that happen? Well, it takes a lot of hard work, and it takes
a lot of work, yes,
for each other, and and you can make it work if I'm just stubborn. I feel like I was told when I was 17 and got married to an 18-year-old that it would never last. You're too young. You don't know what you're doing, and so that right there just encouraged me to make it work. And but anyway, I really admire that about you for for talking about your community and your beautiful family. What's one of the more memorable moments that you had in your youth and in your military and in your career?
Wow, my youth.
Memorial, things that you really stand out to you.
Yes. What stood out as a youth, and now I walk it down to current. As a youth, what stood out, one of the most memorable times in my life was my 9th grade year in high school, because that was a very pivotal point in my life where I had to make decisions about what I was going to do in life. And that 9th grade, I decided to join JROTC. And I had a instructor by the name of First Sergeant Jimmy Armstrong. And man, did he whoop me into shape of all the military cadence and running and the military lifestyle. And my dad said I was a very, what was the word my dad used to love to use? It wasn't facetious. Wasn't active. Oh, if he was in my ear, he would tell me. Ornery. That's what it was. That's the word he
Honorary,
used.
okay.
Yeah, honorary. He said I was a very honorary boy. So I needed that in my life. So, I would get the coaching and mentoring from my dad. Then I go to high school, and here comes Mr. Jimmy Armstrong, first son Jimmy Armstrong. And that ninth grade year really made me who I am to be and determine my professional career. It was no doubt what I was going to do after that ninth grade year. Moving forward, most memorable things are, of course, getting back home safe from Iraq. And I'll never forget this last thing, Miss Nancy, the day I signed my contract and became an LLC. I was like, wow, I am now a business owner. Something you think is way beyond you is right there if you're willing to do the work. So, just walking those things. Yes. Yes. So those are some very memorable points in my life.
And that really is, I can really relate to that because I've given thousands of speeches in my career at the credit union and everything I did. But I never dreamed I'd be a broadcaster on a Christian broadcasting network. And when I started this 2 years ago, I was green. I'm like, there's no way. If you could have told me that I was going to be a broadcaster and interview people, like, no way. I mean, I love people and I love to talk, but I just can't do it. But now, I mean, I absolutely love it. And really it's put me more in my purpose WYTV7 has in allowing me to do this, because it's just something I never dreamed I would do. And now I'm older and retired and I don't have that much to do. So I put a lot of thought into it and a lot of effort into it. And all I want to do is to allow everyone that I interview to shine their light into the world and let people be motivated by them. And that's what really brings me happiness. So I can totally understand that when you start a new venture and you know it's yours and it's something, it's an amazing feeling. God is so good. Also, I have my very best friend over here in Little Rock. Her son is 19 and he just left for boot camp for Air Force. First time he's ever away from home. He was in junior ROTC and all that stuff and absolutely loved it. And I talked to her one day last week. I mean, he just left 2 weeks ago. She's really upset. And so I said, well, you know what? This will make a man out of him. He'll be a changed person.
That's it, yes.
She called me this week and she said, guess what? He learned how to make a bed. He said he can make a bed better than I can now. And I thought that was funny.
Yes.
He's going to be working on M16s. So he's real excited. I mean, he's already changed in 2 weeks, and turned into a more responsible person and all. So I just think the military is fabulous for you, although it's hard when you're going through it. So
that's true. That's true.
So what motivates you when you feel like quitting, Mr. Terrell?
Well, when I feel like quitting, I ask myself something, Nancy. I said, have I done everything I know to do? Have I really done my best? Because the natural tendency of humans when they face difficulty is to quit. I think back at Jonah. Jonah was given a very specific word to give. He didn't want to give the word. So what did he do? He tried to flee. In a sense, he was telling God, no, he was trying to quit. And I looked at that story and I said, you know what? Jonah took 6 days for a 3-day trip. He spent 3 days in the belly of a fish, and it took him actually 3 days to get where he's supposed to go. So I looked at that story. It always resonated with me. And when I feel like quitting, I'm like, first of all, I can't be Jonah. Second of all, have I truly done everything I know to do? Because many times we say, oh, it's just not working. What's not working today? What about tomorrow? What about 2 days from now? So I remind myself of that story and I ask myself that question. I will look in the mirror and say, Terrell, have you done everything you know to do? And that's with closing a client. That's with getting, equipment, that's with life situations, whatever it is. When I feel like quitting, I have to ask myself that question.
Wow, I love that, and I love that analogy back to Jonah. That's great. Uh, who made the biggest impact on your life?
I would have to say my father. My father is what they call Nancy a man's man. Love my mom to death, and people always they're like, "You always talking about your dad." I said, "Well, yes, because men, good men, don't get talked about enough." And I tell you, he have been a example of what a man should be, not because he done everything perfect, because he made some mistakes and was willing to share those mistakes with us, and we could learn from them and to be men. In the open conversations we have, just about life, how to deal with difficult people, what happens when things not going your way, how to enjoy life, all those things in between. My dad had a huge impact, and I can tell you there hasn't been one day where he wasn't there. We was born and raised on the farm, so we worked together. And when we worked together, that bond just formed so tight. So for 17 years, I was under the leadership of my father until I went to the military. So I tell people, I said, the military really didn't teach me a whole lot about discipline. They gave me a lot of order because the discipline was at home. But the person who had the most impact was my father.
Wow, and that's probably why you enjoyed your military service so much, is because you already understood discipline. Wow, that's a great thing to talk about, because so many people don't have fathers in their life. That's part of the issue in this day and time, is that the fathers aren't there. And God planned us to be a family unit, and that's what makes it work. But when the father's not there, it's just hard. It's very difficult. It's difficult on the mother, and it's difficult on the children. And really, there's a lot of talk nowadays about masculinity and how y'all are stripped of your masculinity, which is quite irritating to me because I'm from the old school. I'm from old school. So sometimes I have a hard time adapting to some of this new stuff they're talking about, but I do believe that happens. So you're just an exemplary example of what God wants us to be. So I really admire that in you, Terrell. What and who inspires you? Is it more other than your father?
Well, people. Because the reason I say people is there is such a great need out here in the world to help people. And Nancy, anything you want, God has put people here on earth to help us, to provide for us, to guide us, to lead us. If you want to do something like write a book, there's a person that I do believe that God have assigned for you to help you. And what motivates me is helping people. Even in any piece of business I do, I don't take a speaking gig or just a gig to make money. I truly want to be able to help fix your problem or aid you in your situation or coach you or train your company through whatever difficulties you have. And the return on investment, it should be high. I think there should be some mutuality there. And what's rewarding is when someone can come back and say, that thing you told me 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it helped me and blessed me so much, and I have passed it on to somebody else. That what really inspires me. That really get me fired up. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just great. I mean, when you can have a lasting impact on people like that, that's really what it's all about. That's been my mantra all my life is people helping people. That's what credit unions do, nonprofits. But it's just what I do. And you have to have a heart for it. You have to have a heart to want to go out and help people. And you really have that. I have that. And so I'm honored to have you on the show talking about that. What and who do you value the most?
Uh, it kind of go with the last question, Nancy. I value the opportunities. Let's take, for instance, this opportunity here. I value opportunities, meaning I have a chance to present and represent Christ. I have a chance to represent my gifts. I have a chance to make my parents proud all over again. And these are just opportunities that just continue to come your way. And it's just a matter of how we look at things. Because many people say, I can't get a break. Well, I'm not looking for a break. I'm looking to tear down a wall. I'm looking to bust a door wide open. And I told one of my friends, he was in that little slump like that, felt he didn't have any opportunities. He said, every time one door opened and another one closed. I said, well, don't worry about the door. You figure out how to buy the house. Don't worry about going through the door. Your focus should be buying the house. And I gave him the old Monopoly analogy. I said, once you buy the house, you buy enough houses to get a hotel. Once you get a hotel, you buy the block. Once you buy the block, guess what? Now you want to own this territory. And I'm not talking about, so much physical things. I'm talking about mental, spiritual, physical, it will come with it. But we have to have that mentality. So what really I value is opportunities that present themselves and the challenges that come with them. Those are the puzzles that we are meant to figure out, because we was created one of the most intelligent creatures on earth. I mean, when God made us, he said we was good. I look at Adam. Adam named every animal. He called a giraffe a giraffe. How in the world would you know to call that animal a giraffe? It's because of our intelligence and the opportunities we have to do so much. So I get fired up just thinking about the opportunity that presented to us day after day after day. But we have to have the mindset to say, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I take from this? How can I apply this to my situation? So that value, that opportunity, I value so much more than anything else.
Well, thank you for that, Terrell. That really humbles me, because that's really exactly how I am. The reason that we do these shows on WYTV is so that we can reach the community and reach the world. And not only do you have the opportunity to make your parents happy on this show, I really have to say that there's millions of people that WYTV reaches and engages with. So we don't know what's going to become of this and how many people you're going to be able to reach with your words and your inspiration. But I do know you're very inspirational. So I really appreciate that. You humble me. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Do you have a favorite Bible verse?
There's a Bible verse that Miss Thomas, my Sunday school teacher, taught me when I was small. And it resonates with me so much right now. And I often tell the kids about it. The verse, and I'm going to give it in segments because he just broke it down, a simple version to me. The verse said, let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. Now, I used to rehearse that verse because I used to be in Sunday school talking, Miss Nancy. And when it came for review time, the teacher said, hey, you're going to do the verse. I said, no, I don't want to do it. She said, yes, you are, because you taught all during Sunday school. And I tell you, by her doing that, I know she knew what she was doing, but I had no idea what she was doing in me. And when that verse, it said, let the words of my mouth, everything come out of my mouth, and the meditation of my heart, everything that consumed my heart, let it be acceptable in thy sight. Lord, let this thing I say and it's in my heart, let you receive it. Let the words of my mouth, meditation of my heart be accepted in thy sight. Oh, Lord, Lord, and I'm calling them again. Be my strength and be my redeemer. I need you to be them both. I need you to be my strength because I'm going to get weak. I need you to be my redeemer because I know there's some things that I shouldn't do that I'm going to do. So please redeem me. And I tell you, that scripture is stuck in my head all the time.
Wow, it's
And
beautiful scripture.
it's just so powerful.
Yes, very powerful and beautiful. Wow. I appreciate you for sharing that with you. I try to ask all my guests that. So I kind of
Yes, ma'am.
spring that on them. But, most of the time we all have a verse in our mind that we use all the time. So, but I think
Yes,
that's really beautiful. I haven't heard that one used, as their inspiration ever. So thank you for that. Also, we're almost out of time. So I just want to say thank you again, Terrell. Thank you for your service. I appreciate your military service so much. I don't think we give enough thanks to our military, but I thank you for it. And
You're
thank
welcome.
you for helping your community. That's just where we really need to be. I mean, we're supposed to go out into the world and teach and save. And that's basically what you're doing. I thank you so much for that. But I'd like for you do you have one last word you'd like to share with us before we go?
Yes, I just want to tell the people, don't change your flavor because it's not in season. Baskin Robbins have about 32 flavors, but everyone doesn't like the same. I'm a vanilla guy. My daughter likes cookie and cream. But you have a very specific flavor. You have a very unique gift. Don't change that gift or that flavor because it's not in season. Everyone have a season. Please wait on yours. Do not try to ride the waves or go with the trends. Be who you are because no one can beat you being you. So again, do not change your flavor because it's not in season.
Wow, thank you so much. That's just so true. Would you like to share your contact information with us so people will know how to reach you?
Yes, ma'am. You can contact me at TerrellTarver.com. That's TerrellTarver.com. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. All my handles, Instagram is T Tarver Speaks. That TarverSpeakes. Every social media outlet out there. But guys, please reach out. Email me, call me, text me. You can actually email me at Terrell at TerrellTarver.com. If you need a consultant, if you need training, if you need someone for your Red Ribbon programs, high schools, please call me because it's in desperate need. I'm always at a school, and every time I go, I see a need. Any business corporations that need some team building or training, your annual training done, I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, put together a custom package. But I definitely want to sit down and consult with you first to make sure that I'm what you need. Because if I'm not what you need, I know someone that can help you.
Well, thank you so much. You're so precious, and you've been great on the interview. I thank you so much. Okay.
You're welcome.
Have a great day. Okay.